Welcome back, everyone. I'm Aric from Rare Candy, and today, as you can see, I'm back after a little bit of a brief hiatus. I think it's been like a week and a half, something like that. But I don't know if you followed me on Twitter or any of the community updates here on YouTube. But basically, I've just been in the process of moving over the past like week and a half, and my office has kind of been in shambles, and I haven't been able to record. But I finally got everything set up enough to at least start making content once again. As you can see behind me, I don't have a whole lot going on in terms of my setup just yet. I'm still working on getting the rest of my office, up to snuff and looking good once again, but at least I'm able to make content, and that is what matters most, of course. So thanks so much for the patience while I have been gone for this little brief period. But today, we're going to be checking out a deck I've actually been having a good bit of fun with. This is going to be a Golisopod deck here. This is not a particularly old card or anything, or a new card, I should say. We've had it for several sets, but I think this card actually does get a nice boost in the form of the new Echoing Horn that we just got from Chilling Reign. And I think does give this deck, or it does make this deck a little bit more viable than maybe it once had been. The big issue with these sort of cards is that, they're kind of dependent on what your opponent plays, but thanks to things like Echoing Horn and some of the other cards we have in this list, we can actually kind of force our opponent to playing into our strategy if we want to. So this is what we're going to be trying out today. And if you guys can, before we get any deeper into this video, smack that like button. It genuinely does help get this video seen by more people, especially with me not have uploaded in the past week or so. YouTube is actually going to punish me in the algorithm and not get this video seen by as many people. So if you guys can, hit that like button. It genuinely does help out and get this video seen by more people. And if you need any cards to complete this deck or any others, you can check out our friends at PTCGO Use that coupon code RARECANDY at checkout to save yourself some money. And all of our patrons also have their own exclusive discount code over there for even bigger savings. But getting back in today's video, of course, Golisopod, this is going to be the star of the show. We are not playing any grass energy to use Smash Turn. We are going all in on Hard Times Slash. So like I said, we do have the Echoing Horn to get basic Pokemon from our opponent's discard pile, put them on our bench. So if they do try to get sneaky and discard those Dedennes and Crobats, we can still get them into play to do more damage. And also, we also have a copy of Mawile GX. Typically we wouldn't want to play a lot of multi-prizers, but Mawile actually does make pretty good sense in a deck like this because of that captivating Wink ability. So we can look at our opponent's hand whenever we play this guy and bench any number of basic Pokemon we find there. So, discarding Pokemon is a common strategy your opponent can use to play around your Golisopod, or they can just try to save them all in their hand. And Mawile and Echoing Horn, both in conjunction, sort of take those options away from our opponent. But, what do we do if we're playing against a single prize deck? That's where things get a little dicey. If we play against a Decidueye or something like that, Golisopod suddenly becomes much worse. So to deal with those sorts of decks, we do have a 3/3 line of Swanna in this deck. We use 70 plus 70 more if we discard a card from hand. And it has the Sky Circus ability, which means we can actually ignore its energy cost too if we played Bird Keeper. So of course we are playing the Bird Keeper engine. Since we are playing Bird Keeper in ways that's switching around, we are also playing the Rowlet to get in some additional chip damage with Wind Shard here. Sometimes this can be nice at even picking off things like Sobbles and other low HP basic Pokemon early on in the game. We also have 2 copies of Jirachi. Again, since we are playing the Bird Keeper, Dreamy Revelation becomes a pretty good ability to just see some extra cards every turn, especially if you with your special energies for turn, and there's no way at really searching out special energies from your deck other than Guzma and Hala. Dreamy Revelation can be a nice way at digging a little bit deeper sometimes to ensure that we can find what we need on a given turn. We also have the Oricorio GX to, again, kind of for the same reason, help us dig a little bit deeper on certain turns to find those combo pieces whenever we need them. And then looking to our trainer cards, not a whole lot of really interesting stuff. Of course, we have the Great Catcher, which makes sense in a deck like this since we are playing things like Echoing Horn and Mawile. We have the 2 copies of Chaotic Swell. You could even maybe change one of these to a Marshadow. I don't hate that either. But this is basically to get around things like Path to the Peak, just because I have found that cards like Oricorio and even Mawile GX can be very important, and not having access to those really does feel bad a lot of the time. So I like the Swell, but again, you could easily change one of these to a Marshadow if you do want to have the extra searchability of a card like Marshadow. We have the 3 air balloons just to give our Pokemon free retreat, and the 4 twin energies and triple acceleration energies to make sure we always have energy to attack with our Golisopod. So that's going to be the deck we're trying out today, guys. Let's get in some games and see if Golisopod can steal some wins with Echoing Horn and Mawile GX. Okay, CD Clark is going to call the coin flip. Ooh, the coin flip for us here. But yeah, gonna win the flip. We would like to go first. We definitely want to get down some basics preemptively. But okay, actually, really not a bad hand to work with. They do have a metal deck box, so definitely could be like Luke Metal or ADP. Definitely a possibility. I think Luke Metal would definitely be kind of annoying for us, but I mean, we have the Mawile, the Echoing Horn, all that stuff, because if they just start like one lone metal Pokemon and just keep tanking with it, that could be annoying for us. But you know, right now I think we're okay, so just gonna click done for the moment. All right, the Ranger doesn't tell us too much about what we're playing against, so I think for the moment just gonna go for the Dreamy Revelation. If we get a Wind Pod, that's cool with me. Sure. I don't know what we're playing against though, so I don't know how many Wind Pods we really need in this matchup. So I think we're gonna say sure and bench the other Wind Pod. Just assuming we're going at something with multi-prizers, and from there just going to pass over to our opponent. So we have the Primate, Wisdom, Oranguru. Let's see what they're gonna be trying to play with this thing. Again, based on the deck box, I know it's not a whole lot to go off of. I'm assuming Luke Metal or ADP. I mean, it could be like Metagross VMAX, even. Like, people could be messing with that on PTCGO as well, but... okay, there's going to be research, so let's see what our opponent is going to be playing. Okay, an Eldegoss, so that is... So, Echoing Horn is live already, and there's the ADP. Now, that is annoying. If they get the... Turn 1 Alter Creation, that would be really bad. But there is a world where we could, like, maybe cheese a knockout on them. Okay, just the Intrepid Sword. That's best case scenario for us. And actually knocking out this Oranguru isn't the end of the world either. Just because if we knock this out, we just have to deal with a 1 ADP and then 1 2-prizer. That's easy for us to do. So let's go for the Dreamy Revelation here. Hey, we do get communication. That is perfect. And I think for the moment, I think we actually probably attack with Swanna this turn. That seems pretty good, I think. Because we have the Bird Keeper anyways. That way we can also save these guys. So I think that's what we're going to do. Let's go into the Ducklet. Okay. So, communication. We're going to save the Mawile. I'm kind of okay with that. Okay, we do have our Rowlet as well. We have our Oricorio. Yeah, so far, so good, guys. I really don't mind this spot that we're going to be in here. I think I'll actually preemptively get down a Twin Energy as well here. And we could go for the Mawile, but I don't think we need to just yet. So we'll go for the Feather Slice, get rid of Quick Ball. Okay, we get Twin Energy. Hey, that's a pretty good prize. So if we can get them to bench a Dedenne this turn, that's really what we want to see here. But, you know, we took the first KO, and usually, I think for the single... Ooh, Crushing Hammer, that could be annoying. Let's see, and yes, it is annoying. Hammer's such a weird card to see right now, too, just because of, like, things like Moltres running around. Okay, but they're playing a Zapdos of their own, too. Okay, so they're kind of smartly discarding some of these multi-prize Pokemon, but there's a Dedenne GX. So right now, guys, I think we're doing pretty good over here. If we can get them to... Let's see... Quick Ball, what are they going to grab? Maybe a Moltres. I got bad news for them if they decide to bench something else, though, because we can just take a one-shot with Golisopod. Maybe they don't know what Golisopod does. That is definitely potentially. Oh, they're just gonna go for the ultimate rain, forgo altercation. That's really interesting. I can't say I really agree with that too much for our opponent, but yeah, that seems highly suspect. But maybe they're thinking we can knock them out or something. I'm really not sure. So let's go for the Dream Meat Revelation. Okay, we get a Marnie. Do we want to go for the Mawile? Is this the right turn for it? That's the question. They have a 4-card hand. Like, if we can get this knockout, that would be really, really good for us. So I think we are going to go for it. 4 cards is a little bit rough, but we only need 1 Pokemon to get a knockout. So this isn't ideal, but I think this would be really big if we can hit this. So yes, let's see what they got. And they do have a Zacian, so we are in the clear. We'll get down a Twin Energy back on our homie over here. And yeah, I mean, this feels pretty good, guys. We will probably go for the... I think I'm going to toss the communication. Actually, grab our Oricorio. At this point, I really don't care about multi-prizers being on the field. I think we're going to be too far ahead to actually lose at this point. And I'm going to save this Great Catcher because we can potentially just pick off the Dene for game here. Okay, getting the Chaotic Swell, also really good for us. So we probably want to draw back into Great Catcher. For that reason, I think we're going to toss away the Mew here. Just go for a Wimpod, that's fine. And now go for the Dance of Tributes. So maybe we can draw back into Great Catcher for this next turn. Okay, but that's still really good for us. So let's actually... Communication. I think we'll put the Wimpod back in deck. I think we only need 1 more after this turn anyways. So... This way, in case of Marnie or Reset Stamp, we at least have Golisopod in play, and we just need energy from there. But yeah, guys, feels pretty good, the spot that we're in. I'm not going to lie, so let's just retreat. Go for the Hard Time Slash, I mean, and this is kind of what you want your deck to do. This is like exactly what the Golisopod deck is supposed to do. So 3 prizes, we get a Twin Energy, hey, perfect. Ducklets, can we get a Golisopod? Oh no, we have Golisopod in play. Yeah, so I think we're in a good spot, guys. The only thing we're kind of worried about is like a Reset Stamp, knockout on Oricorio. Like, I think the worst case scenario is, let's see, Reset Stamp, knockout Oricorio, Crushing Hammer heads on Golisopod, and Scrapper on Jirachi. I don't think we're quite that unlucky. I mean, it could still happen, but yeah, I think we are looking good. I think it's very unlikely that course of action is what happens. Okay, they're going to get down Air Balloon on Zacian. Okay, the Reset Stamp is actually already discarded, so they might not play a second. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Yeah, there's the Brave Wave, guys. So that is going to be the game. They don't know it, but we do have the energy in hand. And so, yeah, just lone Golisopod putting in the work. Actually, no, we did take a knockout with Swanna early on, so we do have to give some credit to the Swanna as well. But yeah, just drawing a ton of cards here. Grab the boss too, why not? It doesn't even matter. And just retreat. And go for the hard times. Oh, get resistance, but yeah, we get the victory screen. I wanted to double check and make sure the resistance didn't mess up our math, but they had a full bench. There's no way we weren't knocking out Zacian. So yeah, just tore apart the old ADP deck. All right, so playing against Noe Genesis. I don't know if this was an intentional misspelling. I'm assuming it was. I think it's supposed to be Neo Genesis, but yes, we would like to go first here. Let's see what we're going to be up against. So unfortunately, we do have to reveal the sauce right away. They can see we're playing the Golisopod and the Echoing Horn. So feels kind of bad. Your opponent can kind of play around what you're trying to do here, and stuff like that happens. So I think we'll start with the Wimpod nevertheless. Just because we play more of these than Wimpod. So if Wimpod does go down, we still have an even split of both Wimpods and Ducklets. So let's just do this for the moment. They know we're playing Golisopod, so starting with this doesn't reveal any additional information about our deck, whereas Ducklet might. And there is a world we might not even want Ducklet in play, depending on what we're going up against. Okay, so it is going to be Rapid Strike Urshifu. That is... I mean, this could go either way. It really depends what version they're playing. If they're playing like the Inteleon version, that's going to be bad for us. I think I'm going to save this hand, though. Just pass. Yeah, if they're playing the Inteleon version, I think that really is going to be something our deck will struggle with. But if it's like the Moltres version I've seen people playing, that's going to be much better for us. So fingers crossed that's what we're going to run into. And we see the Dark Energy hitting discard, so I think, yeah, that's going to be exactly what we want to see. Moltres also being weak to Dark, weak to Grass, really good for us since we are Grass. So this could definitely be another easy 2-prizer to close out a game with at some point. Okay, there's going to be the E-Switch. And a Marnie. So there is actually a world where our poor Wimpod gets knocked out on turn 1. But... oof. Oh, God. Really hoping that's not the case, because this hand is awful. Oh, thank God. This hand is still really awful. I think we have to get down the Mew. And from there, just pass. Like, we could evolve, but it doesn't matter. The 100 Furious Blows knocks us out either way. Same thing for Gale Thrust, but... yeah, that was a good morning on our opponent's end. We had a pretty good hand ready to go for the next turn. So hopefully our little homie Jirachi can get us into something good after this gets knocked out. Okay, but there's going to be another Moltres hitting the bend. That's great. We have the Echoing Horn ready to go. So as long as we just don't get shut out of the game by drawing dead, we have a good shot, I think, in this matchup. Because with the Inteleon version, a lot of times they only keep 2 multi-prizers in play at a time and have like a full bench. It makes it hard to go for 2 shots. But as long as we can guarantee 3 multi-prizers in play, Golisopod is, feeling pretty good. Okay, there's a Viridian. So this actually could be bad for us because they can toss away multi-prizers. So not only is it good for them just to find their dark energies, but of course they can toss away those excess multi-prizers they don't want on their field. Okay, so there's going to be the 100 Furious Blows. There is actually a world, depending on what we draw, to maybe Viridian before we Dreamy Revelation. Because we did have a lot of supporters that went to the bottom of our deck. Okay, but we get the Bird Keeper. Fantastic. Let's go for the Dreamy Revelation. Twin Energy. Hey, that's good. So I'm actually pretty content if that's... like, if we Bird Keeper into the... oh yeah, they just knocked out Wimpod, so we actually can't attack with Wimpod. I think we're just going to Bird Keeper and cross our fingers and hope that everything works out. Okay. So things still feel really bad. That Marnie still really messed us up, but I think I'll get down the Twin Energy preemptively on Jirachi. That feels bad. Oh man. Could Ordinary Rod, but I want to save this for after they knock out our Mew because we know that's coming at some point, guys. So I think we'll just go for the Feather Slice over here and just discard probably Twin Energy. We need to save Golisopod in case we get Communication because that isn't out to Oricorio. But yeah, man, guys, that Marnie just completely messed us up. Now I'm like kind of wishing we would have played that Quick Ball on turn 1. I was not expecting, like, we didn't know which Urshifu variant we were playing against, and didn't expect the turn 1 KO, so this is going to be really bad. We have to find something good this turn. Okay, Wimpod, we can at least live with that. Dreaming Revelation, and we get a Marnie. Thank God. Whew. That was almost super sketchy. All right, so we have a Wimpod on top of deck, so I really don't want to rearrange the order of our deck here. Let's go for the Echoing Horn as well. Get this down. And yeah, we're going to Marnie. Because we kind of want to save the Ornate Rod anyways in case they go for the Mew. Okay, that worked out really nicely. Getting down Oricorio is super sketch, though. Yeah, I really don't like that. Yeah, I don't think we get that down until we absolutely have to. Okay, so we're just going to pass and concede that little Jirachi's going to get knocked out. Now, one thing is bad is our Ornate Rod's at the bottom of our deck, and if they do chase down Mew this turn, that could be annoying for us. So yeah, us not having that follow-up attack last turn really came back to bite us because, you know, we could have taken 2 prizes on the Urshifu, and they wouldn't be able to evolve and threaten the VMAX rapid flow and all that stuff. So now if they do attack with Hoopa, believe it or not, I am okay with this because we still can get to 6 prizes by going 1 prize, 2 prize, 3 prizes. So yeah, I don't mind this at all. Okay, there's the retreat. Do they have the boss to go with it? Okay. No, they just have a 0 card hand. Hey, that is really good. So now I really don't mind getting down this Oricorio, if I'm being honest. So let's do this. Okay, so Dance Tribute. Oh, we should have gone for the Evolution Incense first. My bad, guys. So let's just go for the Evolution Incense, grab Golisopod here. We'll get down Jirachi. From there, I think I'm actually fine just hanging on to this hand because we might potentially want a Mawile, depending on what they draw here. If they rip a Research or something, we might want this to fill their bench and then save this to communicate. So yeah, I think we're just gonna go for the, I think we'll get this down as well. That makes sense. And yeah, Hard Time Slash. So 360 nuking this guy. Oh, we had the boss. Yeah, in hindsight, that probably would have been a little bit better. Just to knock out one of these. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because even though that would have got us an extra prize, that would actually reduce our damage output. So keeping these in play and maybe being able to Mawile boss this, that seems like something that I'd be okay with. There's going to be Scoop Up Net from our opponent. Cool with that. So if we can just, if we can get them to bench one more multi-prizer, I'm going to be happy with the spot that we're in. Unless they find boss this turn, that's where things could get bad for us, because if they boss Oricorio, I mean, that's basically game at this point. I don't think they've played a single one. Yeah, because if they play the boss, that puts them at 1 prize, and they can just knock out whatever we promote, so. There's no Urshifu. So they are just sort of abandoning, playing around our Golisopods, and there's going to be a Marnie. Yeah, guys, I think it's really unlikely we win at this point because of the Oricorio. Now, I forget what we had in hand whenever we did bench this. I forget if we needed the Dance of Tribute or not, but this definitely could end up being a liability for us. So do we go for the Marnie? Like, do we think they drew a boss off of their... I'm going to say they probably have boss. We're going to go with that. We get Ornate Rod, that's good. So we'll just play this. Probably just grab 2 Wimpods to make sure we can draw into one this turn. That's really what we need to see. Yeah, that should be fine. So we'll evolve here. Go for the Marnie. Hopefully we deny them boss. That's the big thing. Okay, we did draw a Wimpod, so we have everything ready for game next turn. Big thing is, do they have Boss's Ores? That's the big thing, because the Moltres can just get energy onto it and then boss the Orc for game, and we cry. So we don't want that to happen. So let's go for the Hard Time Slash. Take care of old Urshifu over here. Let's see, so we get Echoing Horn, triple, Quick Ball. Okay, like, guys, our hand is too good at this point. Like, they have to have boss. Like, there's no way the universe is kind enough to let us have this good of a hand and have game like this. So, yeah, there's the ability. Show me the boss. Yeah, there it is. So the question from there is, did they have boss in hand before the Marnie? Did we just make them draw into it? I felt like since they hadn't played one, and after the Crobat and all their supporters, I felt like they had to have seen it at that point. But hey, Isba still brought it pretty close. We just kind of stumbled after that early game Marnie they hit us with. We just had nothing for a few turns there. So that's how it goes, though. Okay, so putting it's ill X7, which we do win the flip, which is good. Looks like they have a grass deck box. We'll have to see what this is going to be. Our hand's actually a really good turn 1 hand, I do have to say. Okay, so Snorlax, we got grass sleeves and all that. I'm thinking this is going to be Decidueye. So let's Dreamy Revelation. Mawile, I don't really care about that too much. We'll grab it, I suppose. I have a feeling we're not going to need it, but yeah, I'm just going to toss away the research here. Grab a Ducklet. Okay, if this is Decidueye, then we did end up prizing a Ducklet, which could be bad. But from there, guys, I'm just going to get down the Twin Energy preemptively on Wimpod and pass. So it could also be like Orbeetle. We don't really know. Snorlax and Grass Leaves could really be a lot of things. I mean, maybe our opponent's playing Venusaur VMAX or something crazy like that. We'll have to see. There's going to be an Evolution Incense going for Dartrix. Okay, it is going to be Decidueye. So I'm not, like, too worried about this, but they are just going to research the Dartrix away. Alright, so our Golisopod is not going to be too good. So, of course, had I known this was Decidueye, I probably would have kept that Bird Keeper on top of our deck. There's going to be a Doll. Okay, there's going to be a Rowlet. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. So definitely want to evolve before they're able to snipe our Ducklet if they do play Bird Keeper in their deck. And just going for a Gourmandize. Alright, so we don't really care about Mawile in this matchup either. So I think we are just going to discarding it. Evolution Incense, grab Swanna. This is of course going to be the Pokemon we need to keep safe here in this matchup. So we'll do this. And just research. So hopefully we can find triple and air balloon. We got the triple. Dreamy Revelation, and we do whiff, unfortunately, guys. You can probably grab the Jirachi and put it back in deck. I don't hate that. Actually, Echoing Horn's probably not too good either in this particular matchup. So actually probably could have grabbed the Quick Ball and just tossed the Echoing Horn. I think that might have been a little bit better in hindsight. Now we could go for a Mew. More than likely, they don't want to attack with this thing, though. Alright, so from there, guys, we're just going to pass. Unfortunately, we were not able to take the easy KO on the Snorlax here. Now, I guess the one good thing about having a Wimpod in play is if they ever do stall us with the Doll, okay, they're playing Path to the Peak. Could be annoying for us if we ever get our Oricorio into play. But they're just going to manually evolve. So that's definitely pretty sketchy. Unfortunately, we don't have a boss to sort of capitalize on that this turn. Like, I mean, I guess it is possible we could draw like Air Balloon and Dreamy Revelation into boss. I think it's unlikely, but it could happen. So this turn, I wouldn't even mind finding our own Rowlet to maybe knock this out. So I kind of want to do that if possible. So Dreamy Revelation, we do get Golisopod, that's cool. Before we come, I'm just going to play the Bird Keeper because we always have free retreat on the Swanna. So yeah, let's do this. Okay. Alright, they did discard their own Mute. That's really good for us too. So let's just Quick Ball, toss away the Echoing Horn. I don't think we're going to need that. Or actually, Great Catcher. There is a world where maybe Echoing Horn could be good for like a Rowlet play. So we'll get rid of Great Catcher. Don't think that's going to be too useful. Alright, so we'll evolve over here. I think we will actually attach Twin Energy. And just go for the Wind Shard, knock out the Rowlet there. Don't really care about the Decidueye because we can knock it out in one shot with our own attack. We get a Golisopod, not a great card, but at least it's another communication target if we do want to. So now we can safely evolve this guy. Okay, there's the Path to the Peak. Don't care about that too much. Okay, there is going to be the Decidueye as well. Scoop up net. Alright, so now things get a little bit annoying because they can one-shot our Swannas, but that's okay. We can one-shot their Decidueye. Like, after this 20 spread here. So maybe we should have gotten down Mew, because I forgot about the 20 spread attack there. Because it actually does make a difference, but they need 2 attachments every time they attack. That's like the big annoyance with their deck. So let's just do this. Dreamy Revelation. I'm gonna grab Boss. It's actually pretty good for the next turn, probably. Bird Keeper over here. We don't want to get Rowlet in play for them just because they can evolve immediately on the same turn. So I think for the moment, guys, we're just going to... Let's see. We'll communicate. We'll put the Golisopod back in deck. That way we can grab Mew. So get this down. And yeah, I think overall we're in kind of an okay spot. Probably toss away the Jirachi, or even one Echoing Horn doesn't seem awful to me. Jirachi is also probably not too good. I think we can do one Echoing Horn, that's fine. But yeah, you can see the Swanna really pulling its weight here. There's the victory screen. Just because the Golisopod, I mean, it hits like a truck against those ADP decks and the Eternatus, but against stuff like this, you need that backup attacker, and that's why we run it, just to be able to deal with stuff like this. Alright guys, thanks so much for coming by, checking out this wacky Golisopod deck that we have today. You know, I think this card has been largely kind of ignored up until this point for, you know, kind of decent reason. Attacks like this are good, but your opponent can just play around them, and they're typically kind of hard to build your deck around. But because of things like Echoing Horn and Mawile, I think Golisopod actually is kind of decent, dare I say. Definitely much better, I think, than it previously was. So if you guys are sick of your 2-prize and 3-prize decks running around, you want something different, definitely try this thing out. I think you'd be surprised how many decks you're actually favored against. I think the only things that, in my experience so far, that have really given this deck trouble are the Inteleon-based decks. Everything else, I can't really complain about too much. So yeah, feel free to try this thing out. It is a good bit of fun. That's going to be today's video. If you guys did enjoy, of course, remember to crush that like button, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. We are getting very close to 25,000 subs, so help us hit that goal here on YouTube. And also that'll keep you updated whenever my next video drops as well. And if you want to take your support to the next level, you can also become a patron at patreon.com/rarecandytcg or pick up some merch over at rarecandytcg.com. It would mean a lot. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.